Okay, here we go. So, if you haven't guessed by the video playing right now, or the thumbnail, or the title, Damian Lillard is a Philadelphia 76er. We had to give up a lot of assets for him, as you can see here, but this is the process and this is what Sam Hinkie envisioned. It's honestly amazing, and I think this is a big step for Philadelphia. As you can see, this roster does have all of the new head coaches being hired. Ime Udoka is coming in for the Celtics, Rick Carlisle is going to the Pacers, and Jason Kidd is going to the Mavs, most likely. I don't know if that's confirmed yet. And there's just a few people being fired here. Before we get into the draft, let's look at our current pieces and see what positions we need to strengthen through free agency and the draft. Damian Lillard is here. We obviously gave Ben and Tyrese to the Blazers, but it is what it is. I think it's 100% worth it. George Hill is technically still here, but he has a $10 million team option, and I don't think he's worth that money, if I'm going to be honest. There are a few other guys on the free agency market that we can kind of play around with, but I'm happy to negotiate with George Hill if he wants to come back for less money. Our shooting guard depth includes Seth Curry, Shake Milton, and Isaiah Joe. We do have Rajon Tucker here. I don't expect him to be on the team. He's only a 62 overall. I don't think he's going to be worth it. Seth Curry will be the one who is starting for us. He's the more potent scorer, and Milton can definitely come off the bench and shake things up for us. Alright, so looking at small forward, Matisse Thybulle is technically the only one who is on contract. He does have a team option, but he'll be pretty cheap, and we definitely want to keep him around. He's an amazing defender. Danny Green's contract is up, and I think we are going to bring him back for a year or two, because I kind of want to keep Matisse Thybulle developing with the second unit, being rolled out with Shake Milton and the other guys that we end up picking up. So I think keeping Danny Green is going to be one of our top priorities in free agency. Power forward is very thin. All of these guys' contracts are pretty much over, except Tobias Harris and Paul Reed, obviously. Paul Reed was the G League MVP, but he ain't there yet, and we kind of need to look for a backup to Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is hitting the prime of his career, however, and he's putting up great numbers over the last 3 years he's been in Philly. Trevor Ariza is someone that we might kind of look at for this position, and if we can bring him in for the minimum, that would be amazing. So we obviously have Joel Embiid running at center, and there's nothing to really talk about there. He's going to perform amazingly, and there's no doubt about that. His backup isn't actually going to be a hard choice either. Boban Marjanovic is a free agent, and bringing him back together with Tobias Harris would be the ultimate reunion. Dwight Howard's contract is up as well. I forgot to mention that, but he's going to be asking for too much money, and as you can see there, he's annoyed with us, so we may as well just leave him be, and hopefully he can go to a team that pays him big money and we can just sit here and be happy for him. We aren't going to do anything drastic about the coaching changes. I am just going to go through and hire a few different people here, and hopefully we can just fill out the rest of the team. If we get a head scout like this and an A- trainer, Randy Martin, welcome to the team, buddy. And all three of them signed, so that's all of our staff changes. Let's hop into the NBA draft. So we're going to watch the first 3 picks and kind of see where these other teams are going, and after that I guess we can get into our own picks, as the Detroit Pistons take Jalen Green straight out of high school. He was in the G League Ignite team, good for him. He's in a Pistons team that will fit pretty well around him. Cade Cunningham goes to the Rockets. I thought he was the consensus #1 pick, but apparently not. John Wall is there, who can be a little mentor for him for a few seasons, and I think that's a really good fit how it's played out so far. The Cavs do take Jalen Suggs to continue to absolutely just drown their backcourt with amazing depth, but I've heard rumours that they might trade Colin Sexton, so we'll see where that goes. And let's just skip to our own pick. Alright, so with the 28th overall pick, we ended up selecting Jared Butler. He's a 6'3" guard from Baylor University, and he's coming off an NCAA championship with them. On his NBADraft.net comparison, he's touted as a smart, competitive, and scrappy combo guard who helped lead Baylor to its first national championship, as I mentioned earlier. Butler is a gifted scorer and capable of creating his own shot or shooting off the catch. He is a smart and willing passer, especially considering he was rarely the true point guard, and has a wide array of dribble moves and can finish with either hand. That's all I've heard, and I'm pretty much sold on him. Apparently his turnovers and lack of athleticism was the downsides of his game though, but hopefully we can park him right behind Damian Lillard and hopefully get him a lot of experience. Now that wasn't our only off-season signing. We did manage to bring Danny Green back with a 2-year $8.2 million contract, and he's going to be our starting small forward, and hopefully he can continue to be a solid 3-and-D guy. Trevor Ariza also decided to continue his extensive team resume and join us on a 1-year $1.67 million minimum contract. He's going to be a nice guy to back up behind Tobias Harris and someone we can just throw at the other team. And finally, Boban Marjanovic. He's come in, he's 7'4", there's not much else we really want from a center, and if we can just give him 10-15 minutes a game while Embiid rests, I think he's going to do just fine. We did have 2 roster spots remaining, and I gave those to Carmelo Anthony, who might be able to give some scoring off the bench if he's needed, but I don't even know if he will be, and Damian Lee, pretty much the same thing. He can shoot threes and maybe create his own shot once every so often. I forgot to mention that we did have 3 training camps to send our players to. I did send Joel Embiid to the perimeter shooting camp, so hopefully that's something that he can continue to get better at, just getting a smoother, more consistent release. And then we also sent Jared Butler and Matisse Thybulle to the potential camp, so hopefully they will both get a little bit better as time goes on. So that's a wrap for the second episode of this series. I know we've done a lot and we've made a lot of changes to this team, but I'm excited to see that come into fruition next episode when we go up against the Memphis Grizzlies for our very first game of the season.